You know that red check mark? You see it absolutely everywhere. On storefronts, probably on the phone in your pocket, on your TV. It's Verizon. And yeah, we all know it's a huge phone company, but its actual size, its true scale, is something else entirely. So let's get into it and figure out just how this telecom giant was really built.
First things first, let's just try to wrap our heads around how big Verizon is today.
I mean, that simple logo. It's got to be one of the most recognizable brands in the entire country. It's a symbol for a company that is just woven into the fabric of our daily lives. But a logo is one thing. The numbers behind it? That's a whole different story.
And the numbers are, well, they're staggering. We're talking about a company with an operating revenue of around $135 billion a year. That kind of money consistently puts Verizon right near the very top of the Fortune 500 list, which makes it one of the largest corporations in the world, period.
Here in the US, it's the top dog of the big three. I mean, with nearly 150 million wireless customers, Verizon is sitting ahead of both AT&T and T-Mobile. Sure, it operates in over 150 countries, but its dominance right here at home is just undeniable.
Now here's where it gets really fascinating. Think about how most companies start. It takes them decades, right, to climb that Fortune 500 list. Verizon was different. It basically started out as a top 10 company in its very first full year of operations back in 2001. So how on earth does that happen?
Well, the answer is in this really complex and kind of wild history of mergers and deals that literally piece this giant together from the leftovers of an old monopoly.
Okay, so to get Verizon's origin story, you first have to know about the baby bells. See, way back in 1984, the US government broke up the original AT&T monopoly, and poof, 7 new independent companies were born. This one single act completely reshaped the American telecom world. It unleashed these powerful new players to compete, to merge, and to buy each other up. They were the essential building blocks for everything that came next.
And this timeline, this is how you see those blocks come together. It kicks off in '97 when 2 of those baby bells, Bell Atlantic and NYNEX, merge in a massive $26 billion deal. Then, in '99, the British telecom giant Vodafone buys a US cellular company called AirTouch. Fast forward to early 2000, and Bell Atlantic teams up with Vodafone AirTouch to create a joint venture, Verizon Wireless. And then, just a few months later, Bell Atlantic merges with another huge phone company, GTE, to form the parent company we all know today. So you see, Verizon wasn't born, it was assembled from giants.
And that name, Verizon, it's actually pretty clever when you break it down. It's a mix of the Latin word veritas, which means truth, and horizon, which obviously suggests looking to the future. Kind of deep for a wireless company, right? But it's definitely memorable.
Okay, so you've stitched together a corporate giant from other giants. Now what? You have to give it a personality, a soul. For Verizon, the big challenge was creating a brand that would actually stick in people's minds.
And they did it with this guy. For almost 10 years, the test man walked all over America asking that one iconic question. Can you hear me now? That campaign was a home run, making him totally synonymous with the Verizon brand. And you know it was a big deal because years later, he famously switched sides and did commercials for Sprint. But in what's got to be a testament to how powerful that campaign was, he even came back for a Verizon ad in 2025. That just goes to show you how much that character stuck with us.
As the brand got bigger, so did the company's hunger for expansion, and that led to an absolutely incredible shopping spree of acquisitions. Just take a look at this list.
In 2008, Verizon dropped $28 billion to buy Alltel, a move that launched it past AT&T to become the #1 wireless provider in the US. Then, in 2013, came the monster deal of all monster deals. Verizon spent a mind-blowing $130 billion to buy out Vodafone's 45% stake in Verizon Wireless. This gave them total control of their main business. And after that, they took a sharp turn into media, grabbing AOL in 2015 and then Yahoo in 2017.
Now, that whole media experiment with AOL and Yahoo was interesting. There was a clear pattern, right? Verizon was buying these huge, iconic internet brands, but buying them well after they had peaked.
This quote from our source material just sums it up perfectly. It was like putting together a dream team of legendary basketball players just a few years too late. You had Hakeem Olajuwon, Charles Barkley, Scottie Pippen, all-time greats for sure, but the timing was off. It's really a brilliant way to think about their media strategy.
And if you want to know what Verizon really cares about, this chart makes it painfully obvious.
Look at this. The combined price for AOL and Yahoo was just under $9 billion, but the price to get full control of its wireless business? $130 billion. The visual says everything you need to know. It shows you where the company's heart has always been.
So, after that short, very expensive trip into the world of media, what's Verizon's game plan today? Well, it's all about doubling down on what they do best.
By 2021, Verizon sent a huge signal to the market by selling off most of its media assets. It was a clear pivot right back to its roots. Then it spent $6 billion on TracFone, which brought in 20 million prepaid customers. And it followed that up with a massive $20 billion deal for Frontier Communications to seriously beef up its fiber network. The message could not be any clearer. The future is the network.
So, from the breakup of a monopoly to a series of world-changing deals, Verizon was assembled, not built. It has consolidated its power, and it has refocused on its core mission. So the big question is, for a company that's literally named for the future, what's really on the horizon?